with a block, okay, if you have. If you don't have a block, that's fine. The block just helps to get us a little bit more lifted and out of our lower spine. I want to make sure I'm set up so you guys are going to be able to see me on the ground. Yeah, I think that's good. I might have to change it when I stand up, but no, Inky, go. All right, so we'll go ahead and ground ourselves. No, Inky. And lay down. No, Mark, can you call Inky, please? Inky. Find your spine on the ground to begin with. Okay, we'll put that block there in a moment, unless you already have. And I have my knees bent and my feet at about a distance of my hips, okay? And that's just fine. If you want to stay there and just melt into the ground, then that would be lovely. It's feeling really good to me right now. But the other really nice thing is to take a block and to place it right under your sacral area. And it's just a supported kind of bridge pose, although your hips aren't as high as if we'd be lifting them together. So figure out what feels right for you, if you want to just be grounded or you don't have that block. But whatever you're doing, again, have your feet about that hip distance. I'm kind of pulling down on my shoulders, and because I'm using the block and it lifts my hips, it also obviously lifts my torso and my chest opens, and it helps my shoulders just pull back down into the earth also, and gives me that uplifting feeling. And I want to take this into even a little bit more restorative. So I'm going to go ahead and let my knees come in, and they support one another here. And then I come into those beautiful breath flows in and out through nose and down deep into the belly. And just find a few of those breaths, please. Honey, can you call Inky, please? Mark, can you call Inky, please? And breathing here, a few more breaths just like this. You also notice maybe your chin is slightly tucked and you've got a nice straight cervical spine too that comes just straight out of the rest of your vertebral column. Then from here, just going to do some slight movement here. So keep from your waist down, just nicely reset there. And lift your arms up, fingers towards the ceiling on an inhale. Up. And exhale, place them down. And just keep following that breath pace. But this really, really simple connection of movement and breath here. And again, we're not taking those arms up past just towards the ceiling there at this point. But we are matching our breath to that movement. 2 more times, please. Next time, lift up, inhale. Exhale, let your hands float out, shoulder height. Let them land on the ground at the end of your exhale. Bring them up at the beginning of your inhale. And again, we're just floating here. Those of you that want to take more action or activity can begin to, straighten the fingers out and pull them apart and take more action by bringing more contraction into your arms. I'm going to be really fluid today just because I want to make sure I protect myself and my little, what do you call them, injuries, but just the disagreeable little pieces of my body today, but I'm going to let all the rest of my body be what it can be, and leading everything with breath. Let's do one more here. Inhaling, lifting. Exhaling, releasing down. And now go ahead and take your knees away from being together and start to open them up. Maybe your feet come next to one another, or you keep them separate. But if you have that block under your sacrum, you can continue leaving it there, but just make sure that wherever you open up your hips to and place your feet to still remains quite comfortable for you, or you can release the block. So from here, we have our knees open, hips open, arms open, chest lifted. And let's do that same movement now, including our legs in it. So we're going to bring our arms up and our knees up. Inhale. Exhale and take the knees and the hips and open them up. Same thing. If you all want to put more into this, you certainly can. Or you can just stay in a nice, gentle way here. And decide where you want your breath is. Bringing your arms up and knees up. Is that your inhale? And then opening them up and releasing. Is that an exhale for you? Or does it feel better to exhale as you bring your arms up and knees up, and inhale as you open up your chest? So find that for you. And a couple more flows. And then taking ourselves with hands down. Take your palms down. Take your knees back towards one another. And again, with block or no block, bend your knees, take your feet off the ground, and send your feet up. And this time, let's take our feet together instead of hips distance. And we're making a nice shape with our body, either a complete L shape there in that right angle, or if we're lifted with our hips, it's a little bit different of an angle because we're in a bit of a recline there in our backs. From here, inhale, open up the legs, stretch into that inner groin area. As you open up the legs, close in on the arms by bringing them up. Okay, so a little coordination here. And then taking legs together, arms come out. Keep your core engaged. Okay, I know we're trying to relax today, but still always come back to the core and how it's helping you, even in these gentle moves, to be active and be safeguarding in the lower spine by making sure we can connect and contract into our core. So just a few more here, just feeling that coordination, right, of closing one part of our body, opening up the other. Find where your breath comes into play for you here. Two more. And your feet, generally I say, have them flexed or pointed. You can determine if you want any of that or not today. And then bend your knees. Let's place the left foot down. Take your fingers underneath your right knee and just begin to bring that back towards your right shoulder. As we do that, let's take circles with the right ankle. Chin stays tucked, especially if you're on that block, okay? So that we're not coming into weighting into that neck area. And again, remove the block anytime you feel like it if you're using one. And then go ahead and reverse that circle. And in doing that, we're just making sure that ankle is very fluid and flexible. And then take a little strength in your arms if you'd like, and bring that knee in a little deeper towards your shoulder. Couple breaths here. So we're engaged more than we have been in our arms. And again, only if that feels like you want to. And then releasing. Let's place that right foot down on the ground next to the left. Left comes up, knee lifts, and bringing that knee in just slightly in towards your left shoulder. We don't need to begin pulling at this point, but let's do those ankle rotations there. And reverse. And then let's go ahead and take that knee in a little bit closer towards our left shoulder. And releasing. That left foot comes down. If you still have that block, go ahead and let that release from you. I'm going to scoot down a bit. Noticing I'm not quite all the way in. I should turn the camera a bit. And so from here, we've taken one knee in at a time. Let's take both in. Bring both the knees together and interlace your fingers or attach your hands to some part of the opposite arm. And just find yourself coming into a nice little ball shape here. And breathing. I know it's hard to breathe because your legs are squashing down onto your abdominal cavity that we're trying to expand out. But that's kind of good feedback, right? To see if I can really expand my breath into my thighs. One more, please. Good. And then just let's lay our legs out, hands open up, and come into Shavasana here, corpse pose. We won't be here long, but we haven't had our legs totally extended yet. So let's do that. You guys lay there and breathe. Just gonna switch my camera around a bit. Device, whatever these things are called. Yeah, and just being on your backs, nice and rested and relaxed there, I'm hoping. If you notice right now, in this relaxed corpse pose, you've got your lower part of your spine, that lumbar section is not touching the ground, and that's okay. We don't need it to be right now. From here, take your hands along the sides of your body and just lift them up. And now take them about halfway between towards the ceiling and the floor behind you, okay? So we're not going all the way down to the floor, just that kind of medium place. And then from there, bring your hands arm up, send them on back down. Just a little bit of flow here. Inhale, arms, take them a little bit farther over your head. It's gonna open up the lobes of the lungs a little bit more, and then float them down. Chin stays tucked, inhaling as we lengthen, exhaling as we come back down. And as you continue this, you may notice, my arms may want to come closer to the ground, okay? We're not forcing that, but our shoulders now are warming up to that point where we find more length. And we find that ability to just release a little bit more. But again, that's with breath, not with force. 2 more, please. Now we're going to add a little more coordination here. We're going to let the right arm do just what both of them were doing. And we're going to lift the left leg up at the same time. just extending it as long as you're feeling like the backside releases. And then we're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna take the right leg up and the left arm back, or whichever opposite is for you. And take it down slowly. As you do, you're working some core here as well. And we're coordinating ourselves, kind of like a march. Honey, call Inky, please. Let's do 2 more sets, all right? Lengthen that leg up. Maybe feel it moving back towards your body a little bit more. As we do this, and again, notice I'm not necessarily saying that you need to have your foot flexed or pointed, but if you want, you can add that, okay? And then arms are down, legs are down. Lifting my right leg up so that the toes point towards the ceiling. I'm going to take some more ankle rotations, just 4 to one direction and 4 in the opposite direction. And then push through my toes, bend into my knee, squeeze, and raise my body up a bit into a bit of a curl. And then release myself down, leg comes up, reverse those circles 4 times in the other direction, and point, bend, interlace in that different way, and curl and tuck and round myself up, bring myself down. That right leg straightens out, left leg comes up high, 4 times in one circle, pointing, bending, interlacing, rising up, curl, tuck, round. Slowly coming down, leg extends high, and reverse those circles. You can remember which way you did it the last time, 4 times. Bend into the knee, and reverse your hand clasp, and curl, tuck, and round. And letting yourself come down quite slowly. Let's go ahead and leave the left knee bent, left foot on the ground, right leg lifts up, and take and make a figure 4 so that your ankle comes right behind your left knee. And from here, you're going to lift your left foot off the ground and take and just stay there and feel this here, where you can pulse. And when I say here, I was tapping the outside of my right hip. You can pulse, or you can just stay holding it in that position there. I'm going to take my hands out to my sides, because now I'm going to take and make circles with my legs in this position, this figure 4 position. I'm just going to go 4 times in one direction. And here you want to pay attention to your spine being nicely attached to the ground. So don't take that circle too far so that your lumbar spine lifts off the ground, okay? We're trying to get action into hip, and I'm also feeling it in my left quadricep by doing that. Left foot comes down, right foot comes down, cross my left over my right behind my knee there. And I begin, if you like, with a flex foot or not. Just add some more if you want. Picking up my other foot, right foot off the ground now, and finding maybe both flexed or not, and feeling that, how that is right there in that outside hip area. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and take those circles coming around. So this is lubricating in the hip joints. It is getting deep into the tissues of my upper leg, my left leg's outer hip, and reverse that. And then also, because I'm carrying that weight around,
directed by my under leg there. That's my right leg. I'm getting that into my quadricep as well. And then just stay here, pulsing a bit, as we did at the beginning of the last one. Pulsing, just seeing if you're getting any greater sensation by doing that. And then let your right foot come down, your left foot comes down. And walk both feet in, squeeze. I want you to squeeze everything together now. So your knees, your ankles, the inner sides of your feet, your gastrocnemius, calves, your thighs, okay? Squeeze it to your glutes. And I'm only adding this, again, if you want. Otherwise, you could just stay pretty neutral here. But we're staying still really close to the ground. We're activating by isometric activity here. Now releasing the contraction that I just had and my inner legs coming together. And I'm taking my right leg over my left, crossing there. Arms are still out at my sides. And I'm going to take my knees over to the left. I want to feel that in my waist. And I'm going to look over my right shoulder. I'm going to just hang out here in this nice twist, only going as far as it's comfortable for you in your back. You can take that upper leg and that foot and bring some weight there if you want to not go any deeper. Okay, be in control of that. Feel that in your waistline. It's a really good thing for our obliques, for our lower spine, these spinal twists. Should be adding these into your daily activities one way or the other. You can do a lot of these seated in a chair quite nicely. And then I'm going to inhale, my knees lift up now. I look up and I'm going to let my knees come over to the right. And I want to feel the difference and what happens when I go to one direction or the other. What is being activated? What muscles are being stretched? I'm looking over my left shoulder, left hand. At least that's where I'm at. You guys might be on the other side, and that's fine. Whichever side you're going, you're going to feel something different because of the way our legs are crossed and the direction that they're letting go. We're going to inhale those knees back up. And I'm going to uncross and recross in the other direction. And letting my legs come over now to one direction. I'm letting mine go to the left first. You decide what you want. And I'm looking over my right shoulder here. And of course, breathing. And notice how that breath works. Kind of that twisted fashion. Taking it still down into your belly, okay? Wongo. Gotta go. Wongo. Then bring your legs up. Wongo. And take them over on the other side. Wongo. Take your legs over, let them come over. And again, moderating that to where your spine is welcoming that opening today. And you can look over the other shoulder, and that just assists with a little bit of neck tension releasing in the neck there. And then I'm bringing my knees up. I'm doing my legs, taking my legs up, straight up together, squeeze them together, and then open them up wide. I'm going to flex when I do that. You could choose to do that or not. Bringing my legs together, squeezing and pointing, and then opening up, coming into a flex. Bringing them together, pointing, squeezing, taking them out, flexing, pushing. Again, only adding those other elements if you want. Keep going. Let's do 2 more sets of these. Again, opening up into the groin area here, lengthening out the back side of our legs. Now when you reach to the top, let's go ahead and let your legs come down, knees bent. Let's work in and out of bridge pose before we come off of our backs here. So we started with that assisted bridge, those of you that have the block underneath you. Now we're just going to do our own bridge pose. Fingers are down towards my heels, knees are hips distance. I'm going to press with weight into feet, hands, shoulders, begin to lift my hips up, my chin is really tucked, okay? Feel where your weight is, it's on the shoulders. You should be able to lift your head. Okay, I don't want anybody to have any neck impingement or neck weight here, okay? And then come on down, slowly vertebrae by vertebrae. And then just repeat that action, please. I'm inhaling as I lift up and exhaling, slowly coming down. And 2 more times here. And coming on down. I'm going to take my hand, it has to be my right hand closest to camera, but whichever one, I'm going to slide it up over my head. I'm going to come onto my side, right, into fetal position. So find yourself protecting your neck again. The right side of my head is on my right bicep. So you may be in the opposite, it doesn't matter, whichever one is working for all of us. And let's just take a couple breaths here in this transition away from our spine being rounded. And here, let's do some gentle lifts with our top leg. We inhale, lift it up to keep the toes down, all right, attached to something. And then exhale, let the knee come down. Inhale, knee opens. Exhale, it closes. 2 more times. So we're just activating at that hip joint. And now we're going to take the full leg all the way up. Inhale. And exhale it down. Inhale, rise up. And exhale comes down. 2 more times. Feel that in that side of your hip again. Come on down. And this time, inhale, lift. Let's leave it up. And let's take 4 circles forward. If you like, you get more out of it if you keep your foot flexed or pointed, but you don't have to. Just going to keep reminding you of that for those that want that. And let's take 4 times going back. Should be feeling that in our hips there. And when you find yourself up again, stay up, take your hand on to your knee and extend the leg long. Maybe your hand comes underneath your knee or your thigh just to see about where your leg can extend to. You can again keep it flexed or pointed. We're just kind of on our side with that leg rising up overhead. And I'm going to take those toes of that foot that's up and I'm going to take them down in front of my face. Okay? And I'm going to lift up, inhale. 3 more times. And if you want to just rest in a fetal position, please do that. Take care of yourselves, you guys. One more time. Lifting up, bending, And replacing slowly that right leg or whatever leg it was back down onto the upper leg on top of the bottom leg. Maybe just massaging that hip a bit if you're feeling that at all, like I am. And then you guys can just flip over. I'm going to turn it around on the other side just so that I'm not facing away from you. I'm going to continue to protect my neck by resting my head on my bicep there and keeping one leg on top of the other, just feeling into this fetal position first. A breath or two. I'm going to keep my toes connected or my feet connected. I'm just going to lift and separate the top leg from the bottom and then let it come down. Exhale 3 more times. A lot of times women, especially, are asking for, I need some work on my hips. So you guys didn't ask for it today, but I'm giving it anyways. And now we're going to go ahead and lift that entire leg up. Again, if you want to keep the foot flexed or pointed, you can. You'll feel it more, but don't have to. And then slowly take it down. Let's do that 4 times with your breath. So with my breath means I'm slow coming up, as slow as my inhale, and I'm slow coming down. That's harder to do. We're resisting gravity there. And then I've lost count. I'm going to do 1 more. It's pretty bad when you lose count and you're only counting up to 4. And I'm staying up high here. I'm going to do 4 times circles coming around. Using breath. When I reach my height again, I'm going to reverse that 4 times in the opposite direction. And staying up real high here. Take my hand to my knee and assist with the lengthening of my leg. Maybe my hand comes behind to help support that lengthening. And again, if your knee is still somewhat bent, that's fine. That just means that you're tighter in the backside of your hamstrings or your calf. Pointing the toes. I'm going to go ahead and let those toes come down in front of my gaze there onto the floor. Feeling that right here. Lifting up. All that weight comes back up. And 3 more times. And from here, bend and replace. Slowly bring that leg back into that position that we had ourselves in before, fetal. And after a breath or 2, go ahead and begin to bring yourself up. And have a block available here, a block or 2. And again, you don't have to, but it's going to assist us in just keeping ourselves really more restored, right, in what we're going to be doing, more yin and what we're going to be doing. So if you have those blocks, go ahead and have them close by. And we've done already a lot of leg opening. So open up your legs into a big V, or maybe it's a small V. It's your V, okay, whatever that is going to be. And I'm just going to shift my weight from one sits bone to the other. I have my hands just kind of in front of me and shifting that. And again, here you can be nice and loose, or you can flex or point, really take it to where you guys want, okay? If you're doing it more of a yin relaxing, then you just really are letting things go. But again, take your choice. And then I'm going to go ahead and look over towards my left leg.
I'm gonna begin to walk my hands down and trying to maintain a flat spine. Getting to a place where I can shift my gaze down, place the block under my forehead, and relax my head down and just relax into this stretch that I'm feeling on the back side of my legs. And again, that stretch, if you want to intensify it, would be with the flexed or the pointed feet. And again, here you don't need a block. You can just let your head dangle and you can continue bringing it closer to the ground. Even with a block, you may say, I think I'm going to release a little lower, and you take that block to a different level. But we're really just finding our own edge here, what feels right for us. And maybe we don't even go to our edge. Just want to be. We just want to breathe. I'm not going to talk for a few breaths while we just breathe in and out here. Feeling whatever you are feeling. Let's take 2 to 3 more really big, full, deep breaths here. And then I'm going to go ahead and slowly let myself come up ragdoll status. So my chin stays towards my chest as I walk my hands back and lengthen my spine. And then finally at the end, I lift my head up and then I turn my torso back towards the front. And just go ahead and bounce your legs a little bit to kind of relieve the back sides, especially those of you that might have been keeping that flexed or pointedness there. Just this bouncing really feels good as well. And then I'm going to go back and forth again a bit. We're going to take that to the other side. So again, having that opening that you want in that V shape that we've created, taking our bodies, torsos towards the opposite leg. That's my right leg that I'm going to be working. Begin to walk my hands down towards that extended leg. And again, you can just stay here. You don't have to have a block. And you'll just keep breathing. And you'll just keep letting yourself come down as your breath allows. This is never forced. It's always just a nice coming into the posture. If you want to really take it into that really yin way, you don't have any contraction in the legs and you're using a block. Or maybe your hands stacked, one on top of the other, and getting your forehead to rest on that. If that's your hand stacked is high enough. As you continue your breath, you'll notice that you're able to lengthen a little bit more, let go a little bit more on the back side of our legs. Maybe finding more length in those inhales, more depth in the exhales. Those of you that are experimenting with blocks, keep that experimentation going. It's just fun and interesting, I think, how a block will change what you're doing in an asana to help support, to help strengthen, to help stabilize, to give more structure
to your asana. So play with those and see how you like them. Some of you may, some of you may not. Some of you may think that they're, I used to think this, oh, I don't need a block, Superwoman, I don't need it. And I still don't need a block. I want to utilize that block and what it has to give me, okay? Not dependent on it. I know that it is helping me to realize things that are deeper sometimes. All right, then go ahead and begin to lift yourself back up. Chin comes towards your chest. And then you take yourself forward. And let's relieve ourselves again and moving back and forth from our sits bones, flopping into the legs. Maybe letting them come in a little bit more, right? If you've had them really open, taking and flopping the ankles as well. Now we're going to come forward, okay? So again, using that block, moving myself forward, or maybe coming onto my forearms or my hands, trying to keep my back flat. Some of us might be up here in that. That's great. Wherever your back and the back of your legs is allowing you to go with that straight spine. And if you get to a point where you can use a block, place it again underneath your forehead. And let yourself again relax into this opening, into the back, into your legs. Maybe into your neck. Definitely into your breath. All you're hearing right now is your own ujjayi breath, kind of snoring breath. 2 more big, slow, deep breaths here, please. And then beginning to walk yourself up with that spine coming in contact one vertebrae at a time with one another, slowly coming up and then letting your head release and find that parallelness of your chin to the earth. I'm going to take my legs in and lengthen them forward this time, still having blocks available. I'm going to come into my pose for staff pose. Take my hands out on the blocks. If you don't have the blocks, then just take your fingers into the ground. But what we want to do here is we want to press down into something, all right? Pressing down is going to let our spine rise up. And I have my feet flexed. You can really release if you want. Staff pose is a very energetic pose, even though it doesn't seem like it, because we generally do keep flexion in our feet and our spines really straight so that we're working with our core as well. The more I press down my hands isometrically into the blocks or the ground, the more I'm going to feel that in my arms as well. And I am indeed right now as I continue to press, 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 press. And then I'm going to release and take my hands behind me and hands on the floor, fingers away from me, walking my hands together, squeezing my shoulders, pointing through my toes. And you don't need to lift your hips off the ground unless you want to, but otherwise you are just opening up your heart here, pressing down into the ground as your heart opens, your throat opens to all those new possibilities that life has in store for us. And then bringing myself back into a straight spine. And taking my left leg and bending it and bringing the inside or the bottom of that foot to the inside of my thigh. So left foot, left sole, inner right thigh. I'm going to try to sit up straight here as well. I'm going to come into some lengthening and some stretching, okay? So I'm going to take my right hand down my extended leg, maybe hold on to my foot. That's not available. You could use a strap, and that would help you to hold on to your foot as well, okay? Or you can just take it to wherever your arm length goes, all right? So from here, take my left arm, I'm gonna lift it up. I'm gonna take it towards the ceiling. Maybe I'm gonna come into a bend, and I'm only gonna do that because of my shoulder impingement that I'm having today. The rest of you can go ahead and extend if you'd like. And I'm gonna take my body over. And notice, I'm modeling what we do when we have an issue with our body. Doesn't mean we have to stop our practice. It means we modify. We make a modification that allows us to continue practicing, and it keeps us from further injuring ourselves. So right now, mine's in my shoulder, and just don't want to take it any farther than I need to. But some of you really have that nice long length in the side body with your arm fully extended. Wherever you are, be who you are and in that moment with your breath. And then taking your arm back down behind you or to the side, letting the other one come up, and then taking my right hand to my left bent knee, left hand behind me, shooting my right foot out. I'm gonna go ahead and take that twist, coming around to the back side, looking over my left shoulder. Feeling that again in my waistline. We all have a waistline. And slowly turning back around. Now I want to reverse that twist. So now my left hand comes to my right knee or right thigh, anywhere over there. My right hand comes behind me, nice straight spine. And then I take that look around the back side, over my back shoulder. And slowly releasing. And before we switch legs, let's take a walk out front. And we're kind of going at a diagonal here, letting my arms release forward, taking a block if I'd like to block the forehead, and letting myself just be forward folding here. Again, that extended leg can just be really loose. Or you can go ahead and flex or point. Nice, easy breaths here, you guys. Good. Let's go ahead and walk on back up. And let's release that left leg. Now is going to extend forward. And maybe we need to shake it out a bit. I know I do. And just play with that a bit. And then taking our right leg, bending into that right knee. And the sole of your right foot may be way down low. You might not have much of a bend into that, okay? Find out where that is for you. And he today seems to want to be in the picture a lot. That's because we're close to the floor. All right, so I'm gonna, again, this can be flexed or it can be pointed. My foot forward. The other, so I've got a happy open hip here, lengthening on one side of my leg. And I'm gonna crawl on down my front extended leg and just let myself be here. Forward folding, maybe taking a block. And just finding whatever length I can or want on that back side. That leg, at the same time, my right leg opens up with the right hip area. And then walking myself back up here, sitting up straight and tall. I'm going to go ahead and take a twist. My left hand comes to my right knee, right hand behind me, pushing through my left foot and coming over my back shoulder. And looking back around to the front and taking myself over. Right hand to left thigh or knee, left hand behind me, and pushing down and taking that look back. Good, and then coming on back around again. This time I'm walking myself out at that angle, finding myself on forearms, letting my head just dangle. That feels good. Or taking that block and letting myself rest. Forehead on that block. And then walking myself back up and taking both feet in and coming around so that I can come onto hands and knees. Wow, we're really moving away from the ground here, huh? We might have to do just a little bit of work today away from the ground. So from now, I want to go ahead, and we've done a lot of work on our hips and the back of our legs. Let's take those hips and make 4 circles in one direction and 4 in the other. Told you guys I was going to keep things pretty low today. Let's go around on the other side. So hopefully, and I know some of you are wanting more pivoting in your life. So hopefully this was enough, but we have to balance, right? We have to balance all of that out. And coming back here, let's go ahead and have our toes, the ball of our feet lift up. Take yourself back into down dog. Find where that is for you. If this is a lot on your wrists, you come down onto forearms and you find yourself in more of a dolphin pose than in a down dog. Walking your legs out. We've done all that nice opening for the back side of the legs. Taking ourselves back again. Rising up high to the balls of our feet. Coming down with knees apart, toes together. And bring yourself back onto your heels into Peaceful Warrior. Rise up, coming into Hanging Cobra. Hips come down, toes lift. We look up. Bring yourself back. Forehead touches the ground. Bring yourself up into down dog. Exhale. We're going to flow through that a few times here at the end. High in the balls of the feet. Exhale down. Heels to hips, hips to heels, forehead down, lifting up, coming through, hips down, head up, toes up, hips back, head down, heels to hips, rising up, balls of the feet, come on back, exhale, 2 more times, rising up high, exhale, knees out. Peaceful Warrior, those of you would like, you can just stay in Peaceful Warrior, all right? Or stay in Down Dog. Stay anywhere that feels right for you. 1 more full step there. Rising up, letting my tailbone go back. High in the balls of my feet. Finding these open, toes together, hips to heels, forehead down. Rising up and through, Toes lift, hips down, head up. And finding myself back in Peaceful Warrior. And let's stay here, forehead down. Bring your hands together. Your elbows come close together. And bend your elbows. Place the base of your hand at the base of your skull. And breathe here. In kind of a prostrate position here for arms. And then hands come down. We slowly lift ourselves back up, turning myself towards you. Find a comfortable seated position here. I'm going to take that block and I'm going to sit right on it. All right, and that just feels really good to me. You might want to sit in Sukhasana pose. You might want to sit in Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. Find something that feels just good for you to come to a conclusion of our class today. Coming into our heart space with our breath. Respecting and loving our bodies for who they are, what they do, whether it's fast movements, strong, yan kind of movements, or whether we're taking our body and letting it come into a more relaxed state. Remembering that whatever it is, whichever direction we go, we want to try to find balance. And wherever direction we go, we always want to take it there with our breath. So thank you for being here with me today. Much appreciation. I honor that place and you wherever you are. And I honor that place in me where I am today. With love and respect from my heart to yours. Namaste. Thank you, each of you, for being here today. Much, much, much appreciation. Apologies for my two active dogs that decided they wanted to be part of the picture today. So go ahead, and if you'd like to unmute yourselves, you can do that. Inky, no, not right now. Thank you very much. So, all right. Well, thank you, you guys. Again, really good to see some of you back. Harriet and like Rose and Evelyn, who's such a good Wednesday class participant. It can always depend on her being here. And always good to see Sparky and Chris and Lydia. We get to see each other a lot with meditation and everything else that's going on. So
one of these days I'll retire and you won't be able to get rid of me.
Oh yeah? Well, we don't want to get rid of you.
Hey, Inky! Inky dog!
I know, they're so cute. They're so cute. It's the energy, because my dog won't leave. He's just been circling, and when I go down, he goes down.
That's funny. That's what happens in ceremony over with the Temescal. All the cats in the neighborhood that don't have homes, they all of a sudden show up on the property, like wanting attention, you know.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. So yeah, they know something about the energy. So
Yeah, I told you my dog has been coming in during meditation and laying down and looking up at me like, well, who's that soothing voice?
Uh-huh. Yep, Inky does too, especially when the bell rings.
Oh yeah. Yeah.